Hi, everyone. This is Maheen, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we break down AI driven ad democratization, streaming TV audience reach, and hybrid media management models required to scale small business brands. Because in 2026, protecting and expanding Canadian business from soaring digital marketing costs, complex video production requirements, and unoptimized ad delivery requires moving past traditional manual campaign management to deploy AI image generation, automated campaign managers, and agentic media buying. Joining us to discuss all this great stuff is Uri Grodzinski, the managing director for Amazon Ads Canada and Mexico. Uri is an elite advertising executive and digital transformation leader with over 2 decades of consumer marketing expertise across Procter & Gamble and Amazon. Based in Toronto, he leads a multi-functional organization helping brands connect with audiences where they shop, they read, listen, and watch. He stands at the forefront of introducing game-changing tools like AI-driven campaign managers and ads agents to democratize advertising for Canadian SMBs. So lots of good stuff that we will be going over today. So without a further ado, let's dive in and welcome our guest, Uri. Uri, it's an absolute honor and pleasure to have you with us this afternoon. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much. Excited to be able to join you for this conversation today.
Of course, very pleased to have you with us as well. And on that note, Uri, we'd love to open our discussion by understanding how AI is democratizing advertising for Canadian SMBs, because a major hurdle historically facing smaller Canadian enterprises was the massive financial and technical barrier to producing, high quality creative assets and managing multi-channel ad campaigns effectively. So tell us, how
hmm
is AI changing advertising for Canadian SMEs and leveling the playing field?
Yeah, I guess I would start by saying, the work to level the playing field kind of already happened, and AI is really just accelerating that. The ability of an SMB to be able to, get their products listed on Amazon and be able to reach customers, not just, in the country or the city where they are, but reach customers across the board. That's been in place for many years with all the advertising tools or products that are available. What AI capabilities are doing are really accelerating that. So an example would be in the past, an advertiser or a business could run a campaign and do the manual work to understand the keywords or where should I run or what are the products I should run. And now with things like Campaign Manager or Video Generator or Creative Agent, these are all products that are now that are available to those SMBs in Canada and across the world. They're able to unlock these capabilities that, to your point, they used to only be available to those brands that had those large, robust budgets or were able to work with a large agency. Instead, using these tools, so for example, let's say Video Generator, you now have this ability to say, hey, I don't have a production studio at my disposal, but what I do have is a really compelling product that my customers want to know about. I have the product itself, maybe I have some photographs, maybe I have a limited number of video, but certainly not a robust video that I could put as part of an ad unit. And now Video Generator can create that video spot with the use, obviously, using the AI capabilities that are in the background behind it.
Right. Now, that perspective, it really provides such a powerful breakdown of modern digital equity because you're right. I mean, removing this heavy financial barriers to high-end creative assets, it really allows local Canadian businesses to compete directly for the high intent customer attention. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Uri, let's closely look at video channels and analyze why premium streaming TV is no longer exclusive to giant enterprise brands. Tell us, what
Mm-hmm.
misconceptions do SMBs have about streaming TV ads, and how can they access it efficiently?
Yeah, I think there's probably two things that maybe there's a perception and first of all, you mentioned specifically the streaming, but I would say again in the past where the audiences were only on broadcast before the launch of streaming, that barrier to entry was extremely high or impossible for something like an SMB. With the launch of streaming, that itself kind of democratizes the experience to be able to say, hey, how do I, get involved or get my product in front of customers where they're watching? And so the misconception to your question of what are SMBs thinking is initially they may have seen those same big brands that were part of broadcast are those same brands that initially were part of streaming. And so that may have created this false perception of, oh, again, this is a space that I can't be a part of. What we're excited about is that that's simply not true. What can happen is through the Amazon DSP or whichever streaming product or service people are using, the fact that you can again create the content that we talked about and then be able to run it programmatically and just have it be available as part of the overall experience that customers are engaging with. It's no longer that requirement of you need to do this massive buy just to get in front of customers. You can find a way to invest and then engage with customers by getting your ads on these streaming services, and then be able to actually learn from that and understand what is the right time of day that's most effective, what is the right audience that I want to engage with that's going to be most effective, and how can I learn not just about what happened after I ran, but then that also informs the next campaign that I want to run to be able to engage with those audiences that I want to reach.
That breakdown that you just did, Uri, it completely changes how small brands can view full channel or full funnel media strategy, utilizing targeted streaming options that are available. It really would give local companies such a massive opportunity to build memorable brand awareness right in their customers' living rooms. Now let's transition directly into execution models and examine why human strategy it remains irreplaceable alongside the advanced AI technology. Tell us, why is
Absolutely.
human intuition still
Yeah.
so critical for AI-powered advertising campaigns?
Absolutely. Look, in the end, what is being advertised is something that a human or a person is going to use or engage with, right? We're advertising to people, and so we need to be able to understand. Number one is the product itself is something that people are going to want to use and engage with, so that's extremely important. And number two, being able to understand, how should this particular product be presented with, and to whom? Who is the right audience? While AI can help, obviously, again, generate some of the content that's being used, it can generate some insights. You need to have that level of expertise. You need to have the owner, in this case, like an SMB in particular. Usually the person at an SMB is wearing many hats, right? It's very rare that at an SMB you have somebody who's both in charge, one person is in charge of marketing, one person is in charge of operations. But like maybe that's the case, but generally you have people that are wearing many hats. And if they do that because they know their product best and they know who the customer is that they want to be able to engage with. And so
Right.
the tools that are available to them are really about enabling them to do their job and to be able to wear those many hats across many different functions in a way that simply wasn't possible before, because either you didn't have the time or the ability or the resources or, quite frankly, the funding to be able to do all these things. And so that's where the AI tools are working, as a tool to enable the people making the decisions that know the brands best and know their customers best.
No, those insights, they offer such a fantastic reminder, Uri, of the value of strategic human oversight, because using AI as an operational co-pilot, it sure does ensure that, our marketing efforts, they stay deeply aligned with our core brand voice and business goals. So thank you for highlighting that. Now let's directly look at technological developments and evaluate how agentic tools are reshaping DSP workflows. Uri, how
Yeah.
do campaign manager and ads agents simplify this backend ad operations for small business owners?
Yeah, I think in general, I mean, I'll speak specifically about those, and that I would love to also, talk about and share with the insights as we've launched these tools. We've been able to ask these SMB customers, hey, how are you finding the use of AI, and how is it helping or changing your business? What's your perception of how it's helping? So I'd love to get into that in a moment. So you asked about Ads Agent. So Ads Agent is almost like the umbrella piece of the Amazon ads experience, where these SMBs can engage and have Ads Agent help them understand the overall campaign or what they're trying to accomplish. So figuring out what are the audiences, what are the particular products that it should run with, how do we help optimize different lines. And then as far as creative agent goes, that's really about building the creative itself that's going to run in the ad. So it's almost like having your own creative director that you can work with and develop the content. As part of creative agent, there's also something called video generator, which I spoke about earlier. So this is specific to generating video content. And then there's one for audio as well, if these SMBs are looking to run on audio. all of these combined, as SMBs start to use them, we asked them and said, hey, how are you finding this? Is this helpful? And what we found is that, and this is specific to Canadian data, 75% of Canadian SMBs agree that AI is helping their business advertise in places that felt out of reach 3 years ago. And so to me, that's what's exciting me. Is like just 3 years ago, we talked earlier about, hey, we've already, leveled the playing field. But even then, as we launch these capabilities, we're making that even better in terms of what that looks like. And then I talked about optimization as well. 58% have shared that these tools are helping them enable optimization much faster. And then 51% are helping them understand, hey, how do I do this in a way that's cost effective and helping me be much more, get more bang for my buck as I'm investing in the ads.
Right. That completely elevates the benchmark for automated ad execution because streamlining complex data analytics behind conversational AI interfaces, it really allows entrepreneurs to make the smart, data-driven decisions in such a fraction of time. So thank you
Right.
for highlighting that, Yuri. Now let me draw on your extensive career leading sales and marketing organizations for an immediate practical takeaway for our audience. Uri, what practical steps should a Canadian business take this week to start integrating AI supported advertising?
Yeah, I think it starts from a place of be curious, understand what's possible, and then more importantly, understand what is the business objective that you're trying to accomplish. So start from there and say, okay, this is what I need to accomplish to reach my customers or to grow my business. And then be curious and understand what's possible, what's out there. Within Amazon, we have a very easily accessible site that explains both in terms of what we've done. We have some amazing case studies that we've shared. So what I would encourage an SMB to say, hey, take a look at some of these case studies. Does any of this resonate with you to help you understand, hey, that speaks to me. That's exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. And then be able to understand, okay, these are the tools, or this is where I need to get started. One company that I love, both hearing about and cheering on their success is Marlowe, which is an SMB startup here in Canada. They're a female-founded women's health startup. They're based in Toronto, and they really developed a product for women's menstrual health that is unique and provides something that has not been provided before to the marketplace. So it's great that they created something innovative, but they also needed to find a way to reach their audience and be able to speak to them. And so they did that obviously by standard advertising that they would have done across the board. But as far as working with Amazon, they were able to use the capabilities that we had to initially build an audience. And what's really neat about them is they also did a lot of offline events, like in-person events, where they then took the content from those events. They recorded the engagement with customers. There was an experience where they ran a yoga class for a lot of the people that were really excited about their brand. They never met these people. The founders had never met any of these people in person. They meet them in person. They captured the experience on video, and then they're actually able to use clips from those videos to run within the Amazon ads experience and develop that content. So as you ask the question of like, what should SMBs be thinking about? How do they get started? It's really, I would say, again, start with the business need or how are you trying to engage with customers? And then be curious and learn about, hey, what's available to me to actually get going and accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish.
That was such a great example, Uri. I mean, that really gives our listeners an extraordinary, clear and practical starting point because you're right. I mean, testing basic AI creative tools on your existing product listings, it immediately highlights how easy it is to upgrade your brand's digital presence. This has been
Right.
an overall great conversation. Thank you so much for being so insightful.
Of
Now
course.
that we wrap up, Uri, just last piece of advice, just last piece
Mhm.
of wisdom for our listeners. How can Canadian brands build long-term customer loyalty while adopting AI and streamlining platforms?
Yeah, I think be focused on your customer is really the approach that I would take. Understand what are your customers saying to you. What is it that they like about their product? But more importantly, if you're using the AI tools or you're hearing the feedback or you're using customer reviews, understand what are the pain points and then make sure that you're addressing them. So again, if it's on the advertising side, are there certain ad units that are performing better than others because they're resonating better with their customers? That's a way to listen to your customer. If you're reading reviews and there's a particular thing and you need to actually, maybe you thought that this particular color for a particular product is the one, like this is our flagship color. But then you read the reviews or you look at the sales and it turns out that this other color is actually the one that's really popular. Move quickly and suddenly feature that one that is the one that's most popular. And so again, what I would say is be focused on your customer, listen to them, understand what they're telling to you, either directly or through the insights that the AI tools can provide, or through the information that's being shared to you through things like customer reviews. And if you do that, that's the way that you're going to grow, because you're addressing and focusing on the things that your audience is telling you.
That is a spectacular final reminder, Uri, that true business resilience, it really relies on embracing technological innovation, staying grounded in authentic human strategy, and meeting our audience where they naturally spend their time. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
of
joining
course.
us, for sharing such great expertise and your insights. Thank you.
Thank you.
And listeners, that was Uri Goronzitsky from Amazon Ads showing us how to collapse the expensive barriers of traditional media production, leverage AI tools to streamline campaign workflows, and deploy human-led advertising strategies to secure small business growth in 2026. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. Please be sure to subscribe, and to learn more about how we're supporting the ecosystem, visit smbfoundation.ca. And lastly, a shout out to UPS and ADP for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses across Canada. Please join us next week as we explore our next business topic. Until next time, keep innovating and keep growing.